have questions that you can think of during the presentation, go ahead and put them in the chat. Mark will compile them, and I'll be able to answer them at the end. I want to give you a little sense of some of the recent grant recipients, so you can see a little bit about what other emerging gospel communities are doing. Pray and Play is a very unique program that is run out of one of our churches in the Western New York area. It's a gathering place that allows space for children to play and connect, and families to meet together. Children have a play area. The parents go into a worship area. The pastor described it as playful, messy, and wiggling, but they share the evening together. They share a meal together. They worship together, and at the end of the night, there's food left over. They all take it, share it, and take it home. So it's really a tremendous family atmosphere that is out there. The Sudanese Presbyterian Fellowship. This is another one. This is a program that emerged out of Sudanese immigrants and refugees. They meet and connect. They worship in both Noor and English, and they really have grown into a faith community of like-minded individuals who really share the Sudanese culture together while expressing their faith and worship with one another. And then another one, just to give you a little bit more of an example, is La Iglesia del Pueblo. This is a vibrant, community-rooted worshiping community, which is in Upper Manhattan. Kind of blends liberated theology with some very active engagement in social justice issues. Their ministry and their worship are really centered on fulfilling Christ's call to uplift the underrepresented within the communities. They do a lot supporting worker cooperatives, immigration rights, systemic change initiatives, and bring them into a theology that connects faith to social transformation. These are just a small sampling of some of the recent grants that we've awarded in this category, but it gives you an idea of the diverse type of programs that are out there that people are doing, that are thriving, and these are communities of faith that are doing very, very well. Let's talk a little bit about what we're looking for in these grants. The Emerging Gospel Community grants represent a new or a developing gathering of people within the geographical bounds of the Synod. It's building on ongoing relationships between the participants. It's centered on sharing an interest and the commitment to the teachings of Jesus, while bringing on really an innovative, fresh expression of the gospel in new ways, innovative ways that we can find. And again, it's practicing the Synod values of community, diversity, inclusion, missional identity, and partnerships. I want to bring this up very early in the process. Our evaluators look at a couple of things, and this is on our website, so you'll be able to see it. It's within the application as well. These are red flags, and the reason I want to bring them up early is just to kind of alert you to some of them. What we don't want to see is projects that are centered on one individual. Gospel communities truly flourish when they're collaborative, when we have teams working within them. Our history models show that those are the most successful versus one person's one idea, one person leading it. It also, we discourage ongoing staff salaries. It's really, the funds are really to not to be used to kind of funnel budget gaps that you might have in the church budget. We're looking for new concepts. So funding ongoing staff salaries is one of the red flags that our evaluators might look at. The same thing for building projects. Again, we're trying to establish that these are not to build infrastructure; it's to build programs and people, and to flourish those ministries rather than the infrastructure. So if you're as you're looking at those and planning out your project, these are some of the red flags you want to take a look at. And that's kind of why I presented them early in the discussion. So what are some of the things we want to take a look at and make sure that's included in your grant application? Theological grounding. Does your project reflect the gospel's call to love and justice and reconciliation and hope? Does it have a mission driven outcome? In other words, does it have a future reality that you're working towards? For example, a thriving worship, empowering disciples, transforming neighborhoods. Those are key elements that are very important as we look at the grant application. Does the project speak to the needs and gifts of the community that you're trying to serve? Is it inclusive and innovative? Does it show openness to new expressions of the church and diverse community voices? And most importantly, do you feel that it's spirit led? Does your vision reflect your trust in God's unfolding work in this ministry? Let me give you take a few minutes and give you some tips for the grant application. First and foremost, plan ahead. Now we've got really about a month and a half left in this application process, which should be plenty enough time. But now is the time that you wanted to be taking a look at the application, going into the website, which I'll show you soon, and how to get into the application, downloading the questions, and then putting your team together to start assembling the portions of that application that are going to be applicable. Your team is, I can't say enough about gathering a team, and now is the time to be able to do that. This should be a visioning team that's really looking at people that have various strengths such as design and finance and writing and administration and ministry and outreach, bringing all these people together to develop your proposal and show their area of expertise and how that's going to unfold into this ministry. Doing it now avoids confusion later because you're going to be defining who does what from the very beginning, and it just lays out a more even framework for this. So to start your application, you're going to be going into our website, synodeddy.org, synodofthenortheast.org, but it's done right as I show you right here. You're going to go up into the top header. You're going to see grants. You want to click on grants. When you click that on, you're going to see the different grants that the Synod supports. You're going to click on the Emerging Gospel Community Grant. And it's going to take you into a little bit of a very short explanation of what the grant is. From that point, you want to click on the button here that says apply. It's going to bring you to a screen that looks like this. If you are a first-time user to our grant interface, you're going to create a new account. It's going to ask you specific questions, including your tax ID number, which you're going to be putting in there. You'll be entering your email address and your password. If you are already somebody who has gone into our grant interface, simply put in your email address, the one that you would have used the first time you signed up, and your password. Obviously, if you've forgotten your password, we'll be happy to help you to get that reset. So here's some exciting news, and I forgot, as exciting as it was, I forgot to let our morning session know about this, but the 2025 Emerging Gospel Community Grant is one of our first grants that we are now featuring in 3 languages, English, Korean, and Spanish. You can see when you go into the website, there'll be three different tabs there. That will take you to the application in that specific language. You can download that. You can have a team of people within that language and speaking develop the application. The only thing is that our grant interface does not accept any language other than English. So you would have to have an interpreter go in and actually take your application from that language and interpret back into English so that we can upload it into the system. But this is still a significant progress in what we're trying to do to reach all of the communities of faith that are out there within the Synod. So if this is your first time coming onto the site, you're going to be putting in here the name of your project. So some of them that I described before, Play and Play, the Sudanese Presbyterian Fellowship, La Iglesia del Pueblo. Those are their ministry names that you're going to be putting in there. Now, the Emerging Gospel Community Grant can be a 2-year grant. So once you apply for the first year and you are granted the grant the first year, you can go back in and apply for the second year funding. Each one is a maximum of $20,000 for a total of $40,000. But if you're on this webinar and you are looking to sign in for your second year, please make sure the exact name of what you use for your project goes into this line here, so everything follows through with that project name. Your vision statement. I can't say enough about the importance of this. As you navigate through the questions, that when you get to this is going to be one of very, very, very important. You want to take the time and gather the input from as many people on your team as possible. You're getting 2,000 characters. That's not that much, but we're forcing you to really be articulate and brief in your summation of what your vision statement is. So you want to be creative within those constraints. It's only going to allow you 2,000 characters. So if you go over it before you hit submit in your application, it will not allow you to submit the application. It's going to require you to go back and take out some characters so that it does fit within those guidelines. But your vision statement really tells us what you feel that God is calling you to do and the vision that you have for your emerging gospel community. And why do I say this is so important? The purpose of this is to really show us that you have a long-term hope and commitment, that there's transformative purpose in the gospel community that you're applying for. We're looking that it's kind of sets a faithful direction of what your ministry's future is and what that impact is going to be to the community that you're going to be serving. And truly answering, how does the Holy Spirit call you to be creative and innovative and renew new hopes within that community? When you get your team together, these are the questions that you want to be asking one another, and these are how you can then form your vision statement. In other words, what kind of gospel community are you becoming? How is this ministry going to make Christ's love visible in your neighborhood, in the community that you're serving? What deep needs are you being called to that are going to meet with gospel-shaped hope for that community? And what does it look like for you to be a church in this time and place in the community that you're looking to serve? Very important questions. If you struggle to answer those, you're going to struggle through the application. So take time in the very beginning, ask your vision team these questions, and make sure you can really develop those. So here's a little bit more of some guidelines that I have some tips for you. So when our evaluators take a look at these, some of the things that they're going to be looking for is hope-filled language, something that's grounded in scripture and community experience. Don't just talk about the problems, talk about the possibilities. Focus on people and the transformation, not the programs or the buildings, as I said before. Um, some avoidance. Don't write a generic or overly abstract statement. We want to grow. We want to see more people in the pews. We want to see more families. Stick to this language that's over here. Don't focus on your internal goals. Show more of an outward kingdom-minded vision, and don't rely on institutional jargon or insider language. Stick to the language that we're looking for. It's then going to bring you to this screen. It's going to ask you, how does your emerging gospel community embody the values of the Synod? We want your project to mirror what our values in the Synod of the Northeast are. And they are our community where we're drawing people into a meaningful relationship with one another, a heavy focus on diversity, inclusion, making sure that we help bridge the difference and promote a greater understanding between people. Also missional identity, addressing the real needs of your community and world with the hope and the care and the love of Jesus Christ. And then also centering on partnership, creatively broadening your circle of partners within your community that are going to share with this vision and help to make sure that it's stable and has sustainability for the future. This is not a short-term project. You're looking for a ministry that's going to be lasting. It'll next takes you into a question about your presbytery. Now, the Emerging Gospel Community Grant is one of the few that we actually require presbytery support on. And this is essential. It's both practical and theologically. Obviously, the PCUSA is a connectional church, which means our ministries are not meant to operate in isolation. Having the support of your presbytery is really going to ensure that your project is rooted in the larger body and it adheres to the Reformed theology and polity that we need. And it also helps our evaluators to know that the ministry isn't a lone venture, but that you have the backing, the blessing and the engagement of your presbytery. So if you haven't discussed this project with your presbytery and presbytery leaders yet, now's the time to make sure you get them on board and get them as excited as you are about this new emerging gospel community. So we're going to need a letter of support from them. When you put the information in, that's going to go to your presbytery leader and asking them to fill it out. We can't finalize your application until that's in. We do have a system where we send out a little bit of a reminder to those third parties as we go through the process. But it's important that you're starting that engagement and that partnership and that discussion early on, and now's the time really to do that. Going into probably the area that is harder for some people, and that's the financial. So you've got your vision, you've affirmed your values, you know that they reflect the mission and the values of the Synod. You've got your presbytery support, but now is the important part of the budget. And it's not just about money, it's about the mission, the integrity, the readiness of your project. It's going to really tell our evaluators how well you understand the project and how well you're able to carry this out responsibly. By having you put in your budget, we're going to make sure that your numbers are matching the mission that you're trying to accomplish. I'll give you some ideas. there's a lot of things that can go into your budget. There's a lot of things that can go into this ministry. This is just a sample of some of the things that you want to consider. Under personnel and leadership, develop your possibly guest speakers, musicians, worship leaders that you might want to bring in, training, coaching for some of your spiritual leaders, training in your community partners and cultural leaders, possibly the expenses that you might incur. And these are things you want to think about ahead of time. All of the different worship and gathering expenses that are out there. What might come up as your rental fee for the worship or meeting place that you're using? How about your worship supply? What costs are there for your communion elements, your candles, bulletins, music? All of that are expenses that you're going to incur, but you want to take time in the very beginning to think these out. Even things like your audiovisual equipment, the microphones, your projectors, what you may need for live streaming. Obviously, not all of these are going to impact your specific ministry, but they're all things that you want to consider. Even so much as your Bible and your hymnals and worship guides. The next category that I have on here is community engagement and outreach. And any types of marketing tools that you're going to be using, any costs associated with them, possibly your website, flyers, your social media, Facebook ads that you might be putting out there, graphic design, maybe your hospitality meals that you might be having for your gatherings, community dinners, and maybe food for outreach events. If required, translation or interpretation services. Maybe even you've got something where you've got your branded material, how you want to promote the ministry, and maybe the project name that you're using. And then your other areas of technology and administration, your basic office supplies, softwares that you might need to incur, Canva, Google Workspace, and those type of subscriptions, cell phone use if needed, and then obviously accounting or financial services. And again, not all of these are going to match what you're going to be doing, but they're all the areas that you want to make sure you take in consideration and realize the budget cost before you get too far into this. The other area that I want to highlight is income. So if you take a look at maybe our portion of the grant, the SIDD grant is not meant to be the funder of this project. In order for your ministry to really succeed, because we're going to be there for a maximum of 2 years, you want to be building those partnerships and finding other sources of income, so that in the first year you're growing, in the second year you're growing even more, and by the third year you have developed the resources to keep your project sustainable. So you've got figure out our possible grant in there, but then maybe there's contributions that you're another church that you're partnering with can make, perhaps, and when you're discussing things with your presbytery, see what kind of support that they can offer you. Many presbyteries have those in their budget items. Your individual donations that you might take from collections every week, or other donations that might come in. Consider also different costs that you might have that might be able to be supplied by a vendor or space user or what have you. Those can take away from your expenses if they're in-kind investments. And then obviously any fundraising that you might be able to do. And that will give you your projected income for the project for the year. So again, you want to tie every item back to the mission and the vision. It is the budget that you're giving us. Does it match what you're trying to accomplish with the mission? Are they realistic costs? Have you really shown all the different types of support and matching funds that can be? Avoid being vague. Don't have a big portion of your category under miscellaneous. So we want to see the breakdown in what how you're planning to use the money. This is the next important area. This kind of gives you an opportunity to shine in ways beyond the written means. So share a picture, share some videos. If you've got news articles, press releases, or things that perhaps have come up in the media where they're highlighting your ministry, show them in here. So you can upload these files. Just be aware of the upload size. Above this, it won't, it'll reject it, so it won't let you go above that. But you can share all that. Just a different way of sharing your story. Pictures and videos go a long way in helping the evaluators to see the vision that you're trying to do on this. And then finally, what excites you about this? Tell us what is making you really excited about putting this new gospel community into existence. And then how can the synod be praying for you and helping to make this work happen? It's 1,500 characters, but it gives you one more last chance to kind of tell us a little bit more about what's the driving force and the excitement that you have for this. So let me just kind of summarize some of the final tips and takeaways for you. Make sure that your proposal is grounded in the gospel. You want to send your application in Christ's call to love and serve and witness. You want to make sure, and I've said this numerous times throughout the presentation, make sure you have a compelling vision. Use your vision statement to really describe what the future could look like through this ministry, what the community how this community will be impacted by this. Strongly encourage embracing innovation and flexibility. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for new and creative ways of reaching out. So be open to experiment new things. Prioritize collaboration. I think that's so important right now. Find out your partnerships. Lift up those within your congregations, the not-for-profits, maybe other community leaders or schools in your area. Those are so important to the success of this ministry. Obviously, building a realistic, and we've discussed this already, mission-aligned budget. Make sure your expenses align with your vision and what you're trying to do, and all the other sources of sustainability that we want to see on there. And make sure the red flags are avoided. Go back in. Make sure that you're not focused on one individual. Make sure that your funds are not going towards building projects and infrastructure, that they're based on programs and people. And then tell the story. That's we the evaluators that are going to be looking at your application. We want to see the human impact on what you're building, and we need you to be able to tell that story to us. So let me advance it one more screen first. This is my contact information. As I told the group this morning, I love talking to you. I love to hear your stories, your vision, your hopes. It excites me at the same time. I can give you as much help as I can throughout the process, and I'm more than willing to do that. I always tell people I have no say in the decision of award. So I am a resource to you. I'm a resource to the commission for this, but so I'm here to help you. I don't, as I guide you through the process, I don't have a decision in the final thing, and that's a good thing. So let me see. How do I stop? 1 second. Stop. Try to figure out how I stop sharing. There we go. Okay, questions? Any questions? Mark, did any questions come in from the chat?
Nope, none came into the chat.
None. Okay. Um, no questions? Did I help you? Hopefully I didn't confuse you, but did I help address what you're looking for? Show of hands, how many think that they will be applying for this grant?
We have one question.
Okay.
Someone raise their hand.
Hi, I'm a hand raiser. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm good. Dr. Valerie Williams Sanchez here. Thanks so much for a wonderful presentation. I think my first question is echoed in the chat, asking for the slides.
Okay.
Um,
We
and this,
we
uh,
we're probably going to do it in several ways. We hope to be able to put this on our website so that you can have access to it, and then we'll work together to see how we can also get the slides. But this way, everybody that even wasn't involved with the webinar will be able to go on there and see the presentation. So thank you for your kind comments.
yeah, and one other question. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, it was two-part. I'm sorry. So if you have a relationship with a specific congregation,
Mhm.
is that what you want to leverage? Or if part of your vision is expanding beyond one church but into a broader geographic area, is that a better lead? And you mentioned something about getting buy-in or uh, being in lockstep with your synod leader. So I'm just trying to figure out how I balance the two relationships and meet the needs and the requests of the application.
Sure. Well, I think I was preferencing more your presbytery. So you want to get the presbytery
Okay.
support, but you can be as broad as possible. You can partner with another church. You can partner with other community members. Our success has shown that the more partnerships that you have, the more buy-in that you're getting, the more successful the ministry is going to be. And maybe it might just be stepping out to another congregation. That might be all that you need. But you want to look at all the opportunities that might be there for you, because the more buy-in you get, the more successful you're going to be. And we're looking
Very,
for sustainability.
thank you very much.
Yes.
Uh,
Yes, Nancy.
Dr. Valerie sort of asked my question. Because one of the concerns or question that I have is how do I the relationship between the church that I'm a pastor now, or will be
Mhm.
soon, coming in a couple of days, officially, how do I balance the relationship with the church as a pastor and also having a nonprofit? Um, and, my question is, for example, if I do an outreach, is it going to reflect the church outreach? It's going to be
So
um
Nancy, are you saying that it would be two separate ministries, or are you looking to the new
yes,
church that you're going to,
yes,
combining
two
that with the
separate.
outreach?
It's two separate. I already have a ministry. I coming in with a
Okay.
nonprofit into the church already. I already have a
Okay.
nonprofit for many years, and I want to continue with my nonprofit. How do I become a pastor of the church and still continue to have this nonprofit um, that I already have? How do I not it's sort of like how do I separate, if you will, although it's going to
Mhm.
be in collaboration with, well, how do I separate my, for example, even activity?
Yeah, we see that very frequently. So we see even when we just finished the innovation grant, we'll have a lot of churches, and then they have a separate program for the ministry that they're doing. So you can do them. You should be able to do them together, but you can have that separate not-for-profit entity that is part of this. Nancy, did you want to add to that at all?
No, I wanted to add to the first question. So,
Okay, go ahead, please.
okay, so I just want to get back to what you were saying, Dr. Williams Sanchez. My name is Nancy Talbot, first of all. I am the Synod Stated Clerk. And I have been here for over 11 years. And so I have been part of this whole process of developing the different grants and grant applications that we have today. What I wanted to say to your question is that, and Mike said it, that it's important that you develop some kind of relationship with the leaders of your presbytery so that they're aware of you. They may already be aware of you, or you may even go to presbytery meetings. But for those of you who you don't think your presbytery is aware of you yet, it's good for you to reach out to them, to introduce yourselves, to tell them what you're thinking about and that you're going to be applying, so that by the time you fill out your founding application and asking them to submit, whatever they're asked to submit, I'm not real clear on that one, but the letter of support, I guess, that they can do that comfortably and not say to themselves, but I don't know who this person is. I don't know what they're thinking about doing or how it fits into their community or anything else. So you also mentioned the word lockstep for synod. It is first of all not the synod leaders. We would love to get to know you, but it's not necessary in terms of this grant. But it's not lockstep in terms of the synod. It's the synod values Mike was talking about. And the synod has developed over these years a very strong set of values. And a lot of them have to do with what Mike was saying. A lot of them have to do with how does this grant application reflect the values that we all know about Jesus Christ and about God, and how we see those within the work that we do, and the whole issue of diversity. It's still very important to this synod, even though the country seems to be moving away from it. But we are a Matthew 25 synod. We take that seriously. We will continue to be a Matthew 25 synod. And so those values are reflected in the words that Mike put on the screen that you'll be receiving yesterday. That's all we mean. It's just to make sure that what you're doing in some way reflects that. Okay?
Nancy Rivera, are you from New Jersey?
Yes,
Okay.
I'm in the
I
coastland.
may have
Yes.
had, okay, I think I had a discussion that I learned a little bit about you today from, I can put you in touch with some pastors that I have worked with other grants, and they can help you with that
Great.
not-for-profit part of it.
I will
And that
appreciate
would
it.
be a great partnership. So I think I should be able to have I'll have your sign-in information. I'll connect with you through email, and we'll get contact information. But I can put you in touch with some people in your area that would be a great partnership for you to learn how they're
I will
doing.
appreciate it. Do you have my contact information, or you want me to share that with you?
I should have it from your registration
Okay.
for the Zoom. So you'll be okay.
I appreciate it. I'm looking forward to
Okay.
getting that information from you.
Okay. Very good.
Thank you so much.
Any other questions?
Yes, there's one in the chat from Dr. William Sanchez about how about for-profit organizations? In terms of what? What is the question you're asking?
There we go. Sharing about possible connections for nonprofits. My organization does a lot of work in the for-profit space, but I work in literacy, and I actually am a publisher of books. So my lead business is for-profit because I ultimately sell books, but I do programming around those books. So the books become the core text, and I often find myself donating the services that are like the workshops and structural kind of instruction around the topics the books delve into. So my program idea is really based on growing family literacy, and partnering with the churches in the Presbyterian, more broadly in the Synod. But because my business is structured as a for-profit, I'm wondering if there are similar introductions or connections that could be made perhaps if there are other for-profit businesses that are doing similar types of work, it would be great to maybe even be made aware of them. That is, if they are past grant recipients or of something of that nature, something that might be serve as a mentor or mentee kind of relationship, or just someone who could help me better understand how I can best position my organization for this grant consideration.
I'm
You're thinking, I can see you thinking. I'm thinking too, because I'm not aware that we have given grants to for-profit organizations. We would have to take a look at that.
Mhm.
And first of all, see if under our structure, that's because we're nonprofit, churches are,
Right.
whether that's feasible or not. And, Mike can get with some folks and understand that first. And I think he needs to answer that question first before he can answer your second
Yeah,
question.
yeah.
May
I will definitely look into that, Dr. Sanchez.
Thank you.
I have a question, but it's for Dr. Valerie. Is it
Question
I mean, I don't
Dr.
mind.
Valerie.
I'm
You can
also
take
I'm
it
also
offline if you
I'm,
prefer, but I'm
Dr.
here for it.
Valerie. I'm
Yes.
also writing, and is it possible that I can get in touch with you? Can we share contact information?
Absolutely.
Hey, this is beautiful.
How do
I'll
we
drop
do
it.
that?
I'll drop it in the
Put it in the chat.
chat. Yeah, I'll give you my email.
Okay.
Give me a call or drop me a line, and we can schedule time to chat.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Tom, do you have any questions?
No, this was really helpful. I really didn't know much. I got a colleague forwarded the invitation, and I think it's probably not right for my organization right now. But an innovation grant next year might be a better fit, and this may come to pass based on some other things we're doing. We're in a very diverse community in New Jersey, and we already have a lot of programs, and I was just trying to see if this might fit. I don't think it may fit, but we would not be ready on this cycle to apply. But it's really helpful to understand what it is and how it works. And in looking at the website, I think the innovation grant, when it comes up in the next cycle, might be something that we would be more of a fit for. But thank you.
And just to let you know, for the next when the next innovation grant comes out in 2026, it's going to be under a new structure. So what we would be doing is awarding half of the grant in the first year, and then it's really going to be incentive based on how well you're doing to get the additional funds. So if it's meeting what you're trying to accomplish, it's sustainable, then there'll be additional funds. If not, there might not be as many funds coming back. So just a little bit of a change in accountability in how we're going to be doing in 2026. But there'll be a lot more information about that as we get forward on that.
And let me share with you all why that change is being made. What we found over the course of time is that we ended up funding a lot of applications that only lasted for the 2 years that they got funded by the Synod. After that, the innovations, there were great ideas, but it was all, supported by the Synod money. And after the 2 years was up, it stopped. And our goal is to help you to build something that is sustainable over time, that we can help get you started. But after we've gotten you started, that you're in a position where you've gotten enough community partners that you can continue it so that it flourishes, so that it becomes part of what you're doing and your community is benefiting from. And it's the same for the emerging gospel community grants. BC, do you have any questions before we go? Okay.
All right.
But
Thank
thank
you
you very
all.
much.
I'll say once again, I'm here to help you in any way that I can. Feel free to reach out to me at any time. I love talking about your projects, and I'll help you as best I can.
And thanks for
Thank you.
putting in a
Okay.
long day with starting in the morning and ending in the evening.
No problem. I put in a lot of long days, so not to worry. Blessings upon all of you.
Thank
Same to
you.
you.
Okay,
Bye.
thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.